Hi there, reasonable people. I thought I would leave fine-tuning argument to the physicists to refute, but the feedback from Lucas H. made me think that maybe the logical aspect of this argument should be included in this series after all. If you want to dig into the physics of fine-tuning, I recommend Victor Stenger's book, The Fallacy of Fine-Tuning. We'll deal with the logics now. The logical flaw in this argument has to do with the probability, but first let's hear again what Dr. Lisle said about this topic.
People say, well, if the universe weren't designed for life or didn't appear that way, we wouldn't be able to observe it. That is true, but it's irrelevant. It doesn't explain why the universe appears designed for life. The reason why is because it is designed for life.
Yes, it's so finely tuned that there has to be a tuner.
That's right.
And they don't want you to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Creationists love huge numbers and tiny probabilities. After the Big Bang, the universe had to expand at exactly the rate it did to make it possible for the stars to form. Electromagnetic force, gravitational force, weak nuclear force, and so on had to be within certain very narrow limits for the big atoms and molecules to form. The exact numbers are irrelevant for my counter-argument. The fundamental flaw in the fine-tuning argument is that it is basically a fallacy called appealing to ignorance. If the physicists don't know why the constants are the way they are, God must have determined them. As we all know, this logic, called God of the gaps, has failed time after time since the birth of science. This argument also misuses probability calculations. The calculations must be made prospectively, into the future, that is. If you calculate retrospectively, into the past, the probability is always 1. What happened, happened, end of story. Think about it like this. What is the probability that my life went through exactly those phases that led me into this situation here and now at this computer? The slightest change in any life event during the decades of my life could have hurled me into a completely different kind of life somewhere else. It's almost impossible that I am here now. Not really. The possibility is 1. That's the way it is for the universe too. Fine-tuning argument relies on a false dichotomy. It goes like this. Either the physical constants are determined by the laws of physics, or they are created by God. Since there are no such laws of physics, and especially there were no such laws of physics when the universe was forming, the only option is that God designed the constants to be such that life was possible. So-called string theory suggests that these constants may vary from one universe to another in a multiverse. It does not matter whether the string theory is right or not. The fact that it exists makes it clear that the dichotomy that the creationists talk about is false. As you can see, there are at least 4 possible answers to the question, why does the universe seem like fine-tuned for life? Number 1. God did it. Number 2, deterministic processes yet unknown to us did it. 3, string theory and multiverse took care of it. 4, they are not finely tuned, but instead life is possible in the wider range of values of these constants than what we have thought previously. The astrophysicists are working on the problem of what are the explanations for the exact values of the constants at this very moment as I speak, and the answers are beginning to emerge. I'm glad that the real scientists never say, we will never find an answer because God fine-tuned the universe in an event that cannot be studied scientifically. Don't you agree? By the way, as Late Christopher Hitchens said the universe is poorly fine-tuned for life, since over 99.9 and so on percent of the universe is inhabitable and totally hostile towards life. If this is fine-tuning, the Creator sucks. If we are to think that all that space, matter, energy, dark energy, and so on was created just so that humans could live in this small ball, be awed by God's awesomeness, and then be thrown into hell or heaven for eternity, we are left wondering, how ineffective and stupid is that Creator of ours? Fine-tuning? Done. Bye-bye now.